there are incarcerated people that are sentenced, and there are people that are in jail waiting for trial altogether. And on our DOC website, the Department of Corrections website, they they put numbers out there. I don't know if the numbers are always true about how many people are on probation, how many people are waiting for trial, how many people are in the community, how many people are locked up behind bars, and how many people have been released. Yesterday, this was the number 78, which is a high number for Delaware. Sometimes it's 0, sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 5. Sometimes we are excited to see that it's like 11, 12. Mm. But 78 people released in one day in 24 hours is amazing. What's more shocking and amazing is that today that number was 86. So that's a lot for Delaware, that's a lot of people coming home, and SNAP benefits are being cut off at the same time. Healthcare is being taken away at the same time. And housing costs and rent costs are going up at the same time. The price of living and the opportunities that are available aren't always taken advantage of, and people aren't always able to get gainful employment because they don't always have the skills. But I'm a little bit troubled by that number. I don't know if it's a real number. And I fought for people to get out of prison. I'm Mr. Decarceration. But when I see the number that high for 2 days, if it's a real number, and I know about the benefits, the resources that are being cut at the same time, and I know about the skills that aren't being given to people, the programs that aren't there, they're not being taught how to program. They're not being taught soft skills. They're not being taught what they need to get it. They're not being taught how to fill out applications or to do resumes. Those programs aren't in the curriculum. They're not there at Delaware prisons. This is a Facebook post that I put out there to get people to come out when it was pandemic, during the 3 years of the pandemic, 2020, 2021, I'm sorry. 2020, we were running an election. 2020, I was running for 3rd District City Council. 3rd District is where our prison in Wilmington is. The 3rd District, the poorest, blackest, most underserved area in the whole state of Delaware. And it's where Wilmington's prison sits. It's where Newcastle County's prison, Howard R. Young, is. And the next year, when I learned that there were still men sleeping in the gym on the floor, there was still 3 to a cell, 4 to a cell, 2-person cell. After the Department of Corrections commissioner told me that that wasn't the case. It's not like it was when you were locked up. 2008, there were so many more people locked up. It's different now. It's not like that. And then I heard from family members, people that have family that are locked up, that it is like that. Because this is the pandemic. When I heard that people with coronavirus are coming in and we have deaths now, people are dying, people being sentenced to death, which we fought to get thrown out, made unconstitutional. We marched, we lobbied for the death penalty to be made unconstitutional, and people are being sentenced to death for fines and fees. We had to say no. We had to say compassionate release. We had to say this is a travesty. Let our people go.
So, D, I realized I might have kind of set up this situation because I asked you to talk about, kind of the things that you've worked in and been involved in or thinking about, and you've been so deeply engaged on multiple fronts of struggle, and you also really you integrate a lot of different ideas. Afterwards, that's all good, but then
it's like a water hose, huh?
Yeah, it's all good.
We want to give you a straw.
And then it'll give us, 10 minutes or something to talk about these issues together.
It's going to be tough to just press play. I wish I could, but like confinement and labor and what needs to happen, there's children. I learned this news about these child migrant workers that are being forced to work, that are in, these are prisons when they go into corporations or factories, and they're being kept in there like in cages when there's barbed wire fences around where they're working, like there was in California. We have a new labor secretary, Julie Sue, who I want to lift up because as an attorney, and when she was in California, she gutted a prison complex where people from Taiwan were being flown in and doing work against their will. They were enslaved. And this was in the 90s when I was in the second grade. I sent you that video, Alex. But the young lady, or the Pulitzer Prize winning journalist, Hannah Dreier, she broke this story. She actually went and she interviewed the children. This is something that I suggest that we try to mobilize around, and there's policy that can be rented or that can be written to stop this, because this this can't continue to happen, and the policy just needs to be these temp staffers that they're using, they can't get away with saying that it was a temp staffer and they're the ones that are responsible. These corporations that we give money to, they're the ones that are responsible for hiring these temp staffers and hiring these children. They're doing this on their own. So we're not for that. And we're for Julie Sue doing the work, and we're for Hannah Dreier. That's her picture there. This is her story that she broke. Does anyone have any comments about this or anything that I've said, or any questions at all?
Dee, I heard about Julie Sue coming in today on the news, and they recounted that very story that you have just told us about her work in California. Mm-hmm.
Tell us more about that, because I didn't even say the city, because I'm not sure. I don't recall the city. I want to say like San Jose, but I'm not sure.
I think it's El Monte.
Thanks, Alex. I never heard of the city before. But obviously her heart is with the people. What she has done in the past has been for the people, and I'm glad that Joe Biden appointed her. In Los Angeles, children stitch "Made in America" tags in J. Crew shirts. She came from California. If she knew about that, that would not have been happening. They bake dinner rolls sold at Walmart and Target. These are migrant children, some as young as 10 and 12 years old, some 13, 14, trying to get cell phones and trying to live sometimes, not even having places to go. They're working to pay rent, to pay whoever it is that they've been sent to. Because of the situation at the border now, they're not crossing with parents. Parents are sending children by themselves to live with guardians that are taking advantage of them. They process milk used in Ben and Jerry's ice cream and help debone chicken sold at Whole Foods. As recently as the fall, middle schoolers made Fruit of the Loom socks in Alabama. In Michigan, children make auto parts used by Ford and GM. "12-year-old roofers in Florida and Tennessee, underage slaughterhouse workers in Delaware, Mississippi, and North Carolina, children sawing planks of wood on overnight shifts in South Dakota. I have two grandfathers who lost fingers doing hard work when they were younger, when they were still alive. The hardest jobs, the most dangerous jobs are harder and more dangerous for children to do, of course. They're the ones, they get hurt, they die. The minimum civil monetary penalty is currently just $15,138 per child.
That number is the maximum, but should be the minimum.